Are you ready?
Are you ready and shaved and all that?
Shaved?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What?
Well, you said that last time we were doing it, your beard was catching the mic.
It was. That's because it was. It was so big and so bushy and so out there that it kept rubbing against the microphone. And when I listened back to it, it sounded like the whole thing was remixed in a sort of 1970s Motown vibe.
I might use
vinyl record player kind of thing.
I might use that as a title of something. Big, bushy, and out there.
That just reminds me of I don't know what actually, which would actually remind me of nothing. But that's weird. Are you cold? I'm cold.
I'm sleepy.
I'm cold. You've just pulled the blankets. You pulled the warm blankets from my side of the bed to your side of the bed.
That's because the blankets are hanging down on your side of the bed, and I don't have enough on my side of the bed.
It's not my fault that this little girl does this kicky kind of thing and tries to move everything off the bed. I'm trying not to sneeze.
Why?
Why am I trying not to sneeze or what?
Yeah, but just let it go. Just let it out.
Oh my gosh.
There you go. Better out than in.
Help.
Help with what?
What about the 10th?
What do you want me to do?
Well, I don't want you to do anything.
Why are you saying help then?
Because I'm trying not to sneeze while doing a podcast. Because you're not supposed to do that.
Don't ask me to help.
You're not supposed to
I
sneeze and do
really
anything.
help.
You're not supposed to sneeze and drive or...
In the kicky
See,
thing.
it's she's kicking thing.
I think
Doing the
she
kicking
doesn't
thing
want the
again.
duvet on.
Well, she's going to have to keep it on. I don't care about that. She doesn't know what's right for her at this moment in time. I'm sorry.
She does know what's right for her. She doesn't know what's right for you.
No, she'll freeze. She'll freeze if she kicks this stuff off. And she's also going to kick everything that's on the bed off the bed. And now she's grabbing the cables and pulling the cables from the phone.
Oh, what would you expect?
I don't know, just for her to lie there.
She's a sleeping 3-year-old. She's not a dead body.
I don't know what it's like to sleep with dead bodies.
Well,
Wait, you're just going to have to talk, because I have to go and blow my nose.
if you just want her to lie there, that's pretty optimistic, picture of what's going to happen when you're sleeping with a 3-year-old. She's never going to just lie there. I know, I sleep with her almost every night. And I did have a great first part of the night last night, where Jasmine was actually sleeping in her own bed. That was surprising and very refreshing for the first 2 hours there. And then she came and she said that she's too scared and that she needs milk. So I had to get out of the bed and go downstairs to the kitchen and pour her some milk and then come back upstairs here, and then I sent her to bed here because she was scared.
Scared of what?
I am
What was she scared
not going to lie down with her in the bottom bunk bed again.
Why not? Is it not fun?
That is less fun than her being here. So,
But there's so much less space.
well, why don't you go and sleep in her bunk bed? Why don't you sleep in the top bunk? And then
What?
she won't be scared in the bottom bunk, and I'll have this entire bed for myself.
Because this is my bed.
Yeah.
I don't want to sleep in her bed.
I'm telling you to sleep in Zora's bed.
What?
I'm telling you to
Zora's?
sleep in Zora's bed.
Do you have any coffee over there?
Yes.
Can I have some of your coffee?
Maybe. It depends on
On what? What do I have to bargain for it, or barter for it, or?
what value do you think the coffee has?
Because I made it. It has immense value.
Well, you just gonna have to pay more for it.
What? I'm not paying for my own coffee. That's
Well,
ridiculous.
that's my coffee. Would you like me to
I was
bend?
fine. I was fine until the podcast started. The moment the podcast started, I started to sneeze and my nose started to run.
You're
and
allergic to podcasting.
It's ridiculous.
Would you like me to bend and stretch out and
What?
reach the coffee?
Can you do everything except for the last part? Because that would be funny.
You don't want me to reach the coffee?
I do it eventually. I want you to reach the other side. Yes. But I'd like to watch you bend and stretch.
You watch me bend and stretch every time I do yoga.
I don't watch you doing yoga. It's boring. Why do you want to watch somebody doing yoga? It would be like watching grass.
Well, I
move.
don't know. You just told me you want to watch me bend and stretch. So I thought that may be, enough motivation.
That's a good name for something.
Bend and stretch.
Bend and stretch.
Like the new
Be a good name for a
exercising
punk
class.
band. Or a humorous punk song.
Humorous punk
Or
song.
a humorous punk song.
Bend and stretch.
Bend and stretch.
Nah,
I would appreciate that.
that's boring.
Yeah.
Do you want to sip from my actual coffee, or do you want to pour yourself some from the jug? I
What-
didn't understand
what-
what you wanted.
Do you just expect me to open my mouth and pour the jug of coffee into my
Well,
mouth?
I don't know if you have a cup over there that you need to refill, or whether you just want to sip from my cup.
I don't have a cup. For the first time ever, I don't have a cup of coffee because I thought Oh, it's warm. The cup is warm.
Got milk in it. You don't like it with milk. And how on earth did you
Yeah.
not bring me cream?
I forgot. Of course, I made sure there was cream in my coffee that I had earlier, but I forgot to put cream in yours.
Nice. Nice.
Isn't it?
Thanks.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I might not drink this. I might just hold on to it. It's -0 degrees.
-0 degrees.
Yes.
No, you can't have that, right?
What?
You can't have that.
Why not? Why can't you have? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with -0?
Because it's still 0.
What?
Because when you've got something -0, it's not always 0, but 0 minus 0 is still 0. It's like +0 and -0 is the same thing.
Exactly. Cold.
You know,
What?
my entire hands hurt,
Your hands hurt.
and I've got a bruise on my elbow.
Is this from some strange game that you've been playing with the kids?
No, it's from some strange game I've been playing with you.
The boxing.
Uh-huh.
The boxing game.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what?
No.
No. I hurt today from the boxing 2 days ago.
Uh-huh.
Actually, yesterday
Uh-huh.
I did not hurt at all.
Uh-huh.
I was
Oh, it usually comes
I
after
was
24
Superman
hours.
yesterday. I did not feel anything at all.
Uh-huh.
And
Indeed.
this morning when I woke up, I felt everything.
I know.
Why is it you feel it 2 days after and not the
Well,
first
you
day?
usually feel it 24 hours after. I always started feeling things 24 hours. So if I exercise, like, it's funny, more than 24 hours, it'd be like 27 or 8 hours. So if I exercised at 5, I would feel it the next day around 8 in the evening.
That's weird.
And I think that's the same thing that happened to you. But really, I've got like muscle, I can feel my muscles that I didn't know were there. I never feel these muscles. When I go to boxing,
The elbow is not a muscle.
yeah, it is here,
What?
here. This one. These
The
muscles.
forearm.
my
It's the
forearm.
forearm, not
Yeah, I
the
know.
elbow.
I didn't say elbow. I said I've got bruise on my elbow.
No, I said elbow. Anyway,
And
is it okay? Is it bruised?
no, it's
Do you need
actually
bandage on it?
it feels like
Should I rub
bruised,
some
but
cream
it's
into
not.
it?
It doesn't look like bruised. You know what I mean? It feels sore, but there's no visible bruise.
Oh, I thought you said earlier that you had a bruise.
Well, the thing with my body is that
That
it doesn't bruise. It only bruises when it's like really, really badly hurt.
I bet you if I punched you in the face, there would be a bruise there. Not that I would do that, of course, but just like I
No.
bet your body actually does bruise.
It doesn't bruise. It only bruises if it's really hurt.
That's such a challenge.
Really? Listen, I had people punch. I had Zora.
I had people punching me in the face and nothing happened. What?
I was once.
You okay?
Once I was bending over Zora because I was wanting to help her with something,
Mm.
and I had my face just above her head, and she decided she's going to jump right at that moment, and she went full force in my face with her head. Yeah,
As you do.
and it was right under my eye,
Mm-hmm.
here in the eye bone. Whatever
What?
it is.
The eye bone.
The eye bone.
The knee bone's connected to the
The
eye bone.
stuff under the eye, and it was so
That's the
sore.
cheekbone, no?
Yeah, I was so sore. I like started crying, and I couldn't see for the
3
first
days.
couple of seconds, and it was really sore to the touch for like a week, but I had no bruise. You would have thought that I'd have a freaking black eye.
Yeah.
I just don't bruise.
Well, I guess it's better than bruising.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like a mother's thing where mothers just stop bruising because otherwise they'd just be permanently bruised all the time.
Well, no, I've got a friend, for example, and I think it must be something with the blood or the skin or something. Maybe I've got thick skin or blood or something.
That'll be
I
it.
don't know.
You're thick.
Yeah, but I've got a friend Monica, and she bruises all the time. It's like you touch her like this, and she's gonna have a bruise, right? So
That could be like really cool
really,
and a kind of artistic thing.
she was drunk once, and they had to pull her out of the pub basically, and
How strange.
you know,
How
she was
strange
so-
that one of your friends had to be dragged out of a bar.
she was so drunk she couldn't walk. And she had to be dragged out of a bar and
There you go.
dragged home. And the next day she woke up. She
She
was
dragged home by her
covered
friends.
in bruises.
Yeah.
She had like bruises all over her arms. She looked
Mm.
like somebody beat her up, but nobody beat her up. Yeah, because funnily enough, she remembered everything. Nobody beat her up or anything like that, but just from the fact that people were holding her arms, and dragging her, she had bruises everywhere.
Should have just
Crazy.
left her there.
Yeah. So my elbow bruises, like I can feel that my elbow is sore, but it doesn't show. You know. You know what I mean?
It's sore, but it doesn't show.
Yeah. It hurts like when you've got
Yeah.
a bruise.
Like I've got
But you can't
ab
see it.
pain, but you wouldn't know.
I don't. That's weird.
What?
I don't. That's weird.
Because you'd have jelly pain.
Because the ab exercises are rough, but I don't have ab and back. I can feel my arms everywhere. Like from my pinky finger
What?
all the way up to my booby muscles. Oh,
You can feel your arms.
yeah, shoulders
painful?
and bicep and this forearm part.
That's actually the official medical term. Did you know that?
This forearm part.
The forearm part. Yeah. Look
In
up
my
the
hand.
medical
I
encyclopedia.
can feel this muscle under my thumb. This one here.
What?
The
your
what do you
hand?
call it? Like
It's your hand muscle.
what do you call that? It's
Your
the
thumb.
it's the Venus whatever.
Fly trap.
No.
Uh,
This thing here of my palm.
the
Right.
Venus. I don't know. Oblongata. I don't
The
know. I don't know what the hell
the
that is.
thumb the thumb clenching muscle.
Oh, that's another medical term. You just have to stop using those.
Why?
I don't know, because I get all confused. The thumb clenching muscle.
So I never have those sore from my boxing classes because I don't have to work so hard so that others don't kill me.
Do people die?
With you it's like life or death.
Well,
It's like if I don't use my muscles you're gonna smash me into pieces.
that's how you're supposed to do it, huh? I mean, there's no point like sort of doing
There's
it
no point
softly,
holding
softly,
back.
marshmallow. Like that video we watched the other day of the women kicking the bag,
Mm-hmm.
almost. We're doing kickboxing classes, and there's these bags, and I want you to kick them, and so
But don't touch them.
yeah, kick them, but don't like it was like dusting them with a feather duster or something. It's just it's and pretend
like
kick and pretend kick and pretend kick.
Look, they were
It's
filing their
what?
toenails against them or something.
And pretend kick and stretch and pretend kick and pretend punch.
And make a sumo noise.
I don't know how they could ever be satisfied with pretend kick, pretend punch.
Well,
I
it
don't
depends
know,
on what you're
pretend
looking
best
for, doesn't
friend.
it?
I don't know.
It totally depends on what you're looking for. Because if you're just doing it for the fun of it, you know, if you're just doing it to lose weight, if your main motivation is to lose weight, then you don't really care what you're doing as long as you're sweating, I think. And as long
Yeah,
as you're
but putting less
having fun.
energy into it is
Well, you don't know
not.
how much energy they're putting into it. You saw 1 minute of a training that probably lasts an hour, so.
Yeah, that's fair enough, but you know, people don't make those kind of punch bag things so that you can not touch them and not hit them.
Hey, well, you know what really confuses me? What is inside the actual bag? Because you know what's inside the base, yeah? But nothing ever said anywhere there what's inside the actual bag. Because it can't be filled with sand as well, because that would just topple over, right?
Yes.
Obviously. So it's not like a heavy bag.
Yeah. I did to fill it with some kind of padding, of some kind of thick padding, but obviously it's thick but not heavy.
Because I know some of them
If
are
that's
filled with
possible.
air, apparently.
What?
According to the internet, some of them are filled with air.
That's not a good idea.
But I can't imagine how you can possibly punch something that's filled
Air's
with
not
air.
heavy.
Yeah.
That's you're just gonna punch the standing punch bag, and it's just
It's
gonna.
gonna feel like punching a balloon, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's just gonna float off.
There's be no resistance whatsoever.
It was like that guy who wrote that comment on one of the threads, which was, I like the bag because I have to chase it round the room.
Yeah, that's funny.
When I'm kicking it.
Yeah, well, it adds the the real dimension to
And
it.
there was the other one, the guy who reviewed the standing
Mhm.
bag, and he didn't punch it or kick it during the review, and all. There were like
Yeah, we're just
100.
talking about it.
There were like 100 comments saying, "We just want to see you kick the fucker."
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. It's like, I'm going to talk for half an hour about this bag right here next to me. But I'm
Yeah.
not going to touch it.
No, I don't get the thinking. Maybe there isn't any thinking there. I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird. It's still good that people do their little reviews because the big companies tend to go overboard with marketing that doesn't tell you anything. Like if you look at the new Hewlett-Packard or Microsoft product or whatever, it's all got this fancy video and fancy design, but it doesn't actually tell you anything about the thing. It doesn't tell you what it looks like when it arrives, or you take it out of the box,
Yeah.
or it's like with the Google Home stuff.
Uh-huh.
That there's almost no instructions about what to do, and there's just a couple of websites with information that other people have collected,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no actual official place with information.
Okay.
And I had to join a Facebook forum about it in order to learn from what other people are doing, what works and what doesn't work.
What was the thing you were doing yesterday with the intercom?
Well, because I'm part of that Facebook group, yeah, and people post like what it is that they're doing, and you know, there's people out there like me who experiment with all this stuff, and they're like, what happens when I do this, and can I configure this in other ways, and what's it going to connect to, and yada yada yada, and somebody posted, how do I get one speaker to talk to another speaker? Is that possible? And the first comment was GH broadcast. So you just say that, hey system, I can't say it because it'll all kick into gear. You just use the word broadcast, and it will then record whatever you say and send it to all the other speakers. Or you can configure it to send to specific speakers. You can tell it which speaker to send to.
You know, after it said it,
Mm-hmm.
after the message was played, the wee gizmo says, if you want to reply, or, you know, it's like, let me know if you want to reply or something like that. But then I said, okay, Google, you know what? The magic words. And I said the magic words,
Simon
and I
Says.
said reply. But it was the other person in the Google machine that talked to me and said, I don't know how to do that or whatever. You know?
The other
It's
person
the British
in the Google
person.
machine.
Yeah, because the British person talks to me, and the American person talks to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why I get the British person.
Because you haven't set it up properly. That's fine.
Well, I wanted to, but last time I set it up, I broke the internet.
Yep, that could have been the end of the universe as well. So, yeah, you know why? Because you didn't set it up with me. You decided to go and do it all by yourself.
You're the one who sent me the invitation. I just followed the instructions. I didn't do anything.
Whoa,
you
no,
wouldn't have
okay,
done.
let's not rewrite history here, okay? Let's not rewrite history and decontextualize everything.
Did you send me an invitation?
Silence, dead silence.
It's a simple yes or no question.
You're still... Okay, I fucking sent you an invitation months ago, and suddenly today or yesterday or this week or wherever the fuck it was...
About a few weeks ago, yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
No, it was about a month ago at least. It was at least a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. So, it's now the, I don't know, the umpteenth, 10th of January, wherever the fuck we are, right? And it was before Christmas.
I'm talking about when I broke the internet. That was a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't today or yesterday. That's what I said.
It was last week.
Okay. Could have been.
No, it was. It was last week. And the invitation I sent you was at least a month ago. Yeah, because things had to be done at the time. It's like me putting milk on the fucking shelf in a shop and you coming in a month later going, where's the milk that you put on the shelf? I saw you put it on the shelf. It's like, that was a fucking month ago, for God's sake.
Well, I just opened the application by accident and I saw, oh, look, pending
the whole thing by
invitation.
accident. You broke the internet by accident. I think it was
because I didn't have the time.
direct.
I didn't have the time before Christmas because I was working, and then I looked at the invitation that I accidentally opened, and I said, the application that I accidentally opened.
Accident is the right word.
And then I looked at it and I thought, oh, look, G's invitation. Let's click on it. How the hell was I supposed to know how long it's been there? I didn't know how long it's been there. So I clicked on it, and the internet broke.
But I told you I sent you an invitation when I sent you the invitation.
Do I remember what you told me a month ago?
No.
No.
No, you don't remember yesterday.
No.
So.
Especially as I was busy because I had like 3 clients working on at the same time.
Well, there you go. But what's the point? I don't know. The point is that
I broke the internet.
You broke the internet, and the Google system is.
Configured, not to my voice, but to
Did you
yours.
see what I posted on Facebook the other day, being
No.
yesterday, I think.
I don't think so.
Yesterday morning. It was about Google Home systems rolling out their instant translators,
Mm-hmm.
where they will start doing instant translations in the next month.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a lot of people out of jobs,
Maybe.
basically, because the system is going to translate in real time.
Look, people already try to fuck with translations using Google translating systems, and they shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I think
every
you're
single
talking about
time.
the old systems, though.
Uh-huh.
It's look, 10 years ago, it was, even 5 years ago, it was rough. Yeah, people would go to Google Translate and they'd copy and paste a whole paragraph or more
Mm-hmm.
there, and they'd expect it to come out with something logical.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Of course, it doesn't
the
work. Yeah.
the what was the thing about the fuck a duck until it explodes, or chicken,
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck,
Uh-huh.
right? I mean, you're
Mhm.
gonna come out with some unexpected recipes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's not like that anymore.
I know.
It's evolved.
I know because I'm using it.
Evolved.
Do you think people have not been using automatic translation for ages and ages?
What? Why are you saying that? I'm the person who brought it up, saying that the system was old.
Yes, I know automatic translation exists and it works and it's getting better and better.
And they've got the
and that is
babblefish
great.
thing as well that you stick in your ear now.
The actual babblefish from the book.
Yes, they've got one. They've made one. You stick it in your ear and it automatically translates
That's good.
what other people say.
That's good. That's good. That's super cool. You don't realize that I actually work, that part of my work actually consists of
Work.
work that I'm doing to
Partly.
improve these systems. That I work for voice recognition companies.
What, you who broke the internet?
Yeah. I work for voice recognition companies in building their databases to be able to do these things. It's still based on human work because there's still a lot of language evaluation and a lot of corrections and revisions and things that go on like that. You still need people involved in it because of the complexity of language.
Well, I've been using the speech recognition technology, and
Uh-huh.
not just. Well, I've been using it both ways. Like speaking is, I've been using the speech to text and text to speech, and the speech to text is pretty good at the moment. It's not perfect, but
Anyway,
it gets the job done.
I wanted to finish what I was saying, and that's the market is not closing or disappearing, it's evolving in that area. So that means that translations and interpreting are going to look differently, or the linguists will have different types of jobs, or they already have different types of jobs than 20 years ago, right?
Well, there won't be the same jobs available.
But that's what I'm saying. Where one window
There'll be
closes,
baristas.
where one window closes, another window opens. So I'm
Well,
not.
that's not gonna. That's not gonna keep the place warm.
I'm not. Shut up.
That sounds like something Babka would do.
No, but that's the point. You don't want to keep the place warm. You want the fresh air to blow through the room. Who wants the
I don't
place
want fresh
warm?
air in. I don't want fresh air in this
If
room.
you've got the place warm,
I'm already
then you
cold.
don't move.
What?
If you've got the place warm, then you don't move. If you've
I'd
got
like
the
bed
fresh
being
air,
warm.
you have to move to keep up. So that's a good thing. I'm not gonna start shaking in my boots now because, oh my god, the translations are dying. What am I going to do? I'm going to evolve with the evolution of the market, which I'm already doing.
Well, there'll be no choice but to change because there'll be no jobs.
But that's how everything works, for crying out loud. Everything changes. Look at the medicine, right? The medicine is changing. If you've got things already done through technology and robotics and everything, it's just, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a non-issue. It's a ridiculous non-issue. Of course, things are changing. Of course, things are evolving. Of course, things are more automatized than they were before. But that's how the entire world is changing. It's not just translations and interpreting. Everything is changing towards that. So, and that's good. I don't see anything negative about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure who you're talking to because I never said that that was sort of negative stuff. But
Yeah. Well, you just pointed out, that you pointed out to me before this conversation here. You said you're out of job. You're out of job because look at this technology, and I'm telling you, I'm not out of job. My job is changing. That's all.
I don't think you're specifically out of a job. I think the people who are setting up and studying those courses in the universities are not aware of
No, I
the
don't.
fact that
Well, how do you know that?
the jobs are not going to be there.
How do you know that?
Because school is always the last thing to change
We were
in the market.
not exactly prepared on a practical level, but we had a couple of young people teaching us at university who made it very clear to us that automatic translation is being widely used by agencies now. And look, that's one of the reasons why I don't want to go into agencying, language agencying, because when you're a translation agency these days, it's not just about handing out work to translators, but translating agencies need vast software and IT support. You cannot compete in the field of translation agency without having a lot of tech and a lot of techie people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Why is it so cold in here?
I'm not cold. I don't know, maybe I sucked all the warmness from the room.
My arms are cold. Is that a strange thing? My arms are cold. My arms are
I
never
can
cold.
feel slight chill on my bicep. I can feel lots of things on my bicep.
I feel like there's a cold draft of air coming through the room from somewhere.
The gym's going to be really painful today.
It's always painful, no?
I'm going to... No, well, yes, but...
To hide my arms under the...
It's a bit less painful when you start with muscles that are not sore. When you start with muscles that are sore, it's even a bit more painful. I'm not sure which part of my body I'm going to exercise today because everything hurts. Legs are a bit better than the top of my body, so I might try and focus on the old lunges and squats today.
You will be lunging and squatting.
Oh, my forearms! That's good. Yeah.
That was a gritting lorry.
Gritting lorry?
Yeah.
How do you know what kind of lorry it was? You can tell what kind of lorry it was just by the sound of it, can you?
And the light. It had an orange flashing light on top of it.
Yeah. Maybe it was a snow plow.
There's no snow here?
You usually see, when you've got a loud noise and flashing lights very early in the morning in Slovakia, in the winter, it's a snow plow. Do you remember that kind of thing?
No.
It's a thing. It's like one of those. It's like one of those childhood memories.
It could be a tractor with a just just some giant piece of metal strapped to the front of it.
It's one of those childhood
Like they do in
memories.
the
Like the
villages.
world sounds different when it's covered in snow. Yeah.
What? The
The
world sounds
world
different.
sounds different when it's covered in snow. And when
Sounds
you're a
like people
kid,
falling over.
nah. When you're a kid, you wake up and you hear like a slow truck and past your window, flashing lights, and this kind of strange muffled sound type thing.
You think you've entered a Lego movie.
It's just you know instantly it's a snowplow and it's been snowing through the
Yeah.
night. I don't know how you can tell, but you just can't tell.
It's probably because it's cold. It's probably because everything's white. No?
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Even if it's not white when you go to sleep, you know it's been snowing at night just by the sound of the snowplow early in the morning. And the flashing lights and the... it's hard to explain. It's the snowplow thing.
It's a shame there's not more snow here. But it's not really a winter wonderland.
No, it's not. There's other things here. Like friends!
Like
Friends! You have
Friends?
no idea. I have no idea how happy I was yesterday.
what? Because you made friends with people?
No, because the kids made friends with people.
Oh, okay.
It just made me so happy. It just made me so happy to see Will running around with a bunch of kids outside. It's like... It just like instantly removed all my concern about homeschooling in all areas. You know, it's
What, the
just
concern that's been projected onto you from everybody else who has
No.
no idea what they're talking about?
no,
No. Okay.
my own concern that I had. You know, that came from the kids actually complaining to me that, you know, they're missing their old friends and that they have no friends and blah blah blah, which they do sometimes, which is not projected. And other concerns as well that I had before. Anyway, because you're always concerned. How can you not be concerned when you're a parent? You're always
I get it. I think
questioning yourself, right?
Look,
If you didn't question yourself, you would be a bad parent.
Well, that's true. Well, it's not helped though by, for example, other parents not letting their kids have Skype accounts and stuff, and being able to call each other because you're kicking everything off the bed. What are you doing?
Gently.
What?
Gently.
I do gently. I had to run to running to grab stuff to stop it going all over the place. Oh.
She's just making herself comfortable. She doesn't give a damn about your technology.
Oh, yes, that's why I have to.
Yes.
If other people don't care, you have to care
but
more.
shouting's not going to help because she's actually sleeping.
That she's not sleeping. She's playing football, as far as I can see, with everything that's on the bed.
She's practicing for later today.
Well, there you go.
Anyway.
There you go.
So you have to be concerned. You don't need things projected on you. You're always asking yourself if you're doing everything right. Even if we went, you know, completely by the book, and if the girls went to school and the boys and everybody, I'd still be questioning whether I'm doing enough and doing it right and yada yada. It's
just kicking everything off
hold
the
it with
bed.
your hand.
It's not that simple. You can't just grab it, for God's sake. You have no idea, do you? No idea.
You can.
No, you can't. That's how you have your problems with technology. You're just like, fuck it. I'll just do whatever I want with it. You can't. You have to treat it with care.
You have to grab it when somebody's kicking off the bed, though.
Yeah, and I know what would happen, but you end up fucking turning it off or pressing a button on it or dropping it on the floor or pulling out a cable or whatever the fuck, right? You can't just do whatever. You have to respect the machine.
Anyway, so I was very happy. That's like it instantly uplifted concerns, not only about the socialization factor, but also about the educational factor. Just seeing other kids just being normal kids, you know, helps.
Well, Well, it also proves that kids know what they're doing a lot of the time.
Yeah, because when you look on the internet, you know how everybody's posting on the internet only the good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
And you're like, oh, look at this homeschooling family. They live in the middle of the forest, and their children have so much outdoorsy time. And then you're like, oh, look at that homeschooling family. Their child just won a prize for fucking physics experiments, and you're thinking, oh God, am I doing enough? And that child is a genius, and that child is a genius, and you're like, kind of, yeah, it just makes you think, oh, am I doing enough? Maybe I'm not doing it right. Maybe I'm whatever. No, not putting enough work into it, and blah blah blah. And then you just meet other people with kids in reality, and you realize they're just normal people, and they're just normal kids, and they're all at different levels, and that's it. And you know, they're not in universities by the age of 14 and shit. So that's cool. That's just good.
Yeah, you have to look at it from the perspective that each child is special in their own way.
I know that. I mean, I know that rationally, right? Because, I mean, you're preaching to the preacher. I know, I realize that every child is different. I can see in my own children that,
volcanoes erupting.
that every child is different. But, and
So
I
you're
know
a very
that,
good dream
you
there.
know, I'm like, of course you can't compare children, and of course each one have their own skills and blah blah blah, but you're still subconsciously judging yourself, you know, rather than your children. It's not really about judging the children, it's about judging yourself. I'm not really comparing the children, I'm comparing the parents.
Yeah, well, it's...
But I don't need a rational explanation like, oh, you can't do it because everybody's got different whatever background and resources and stuff. I know that very well, right? Rationally. But subconsciously, there's going to be that little nagging voice.
Well, look at holistic principles, right? That people will tell you don't compare, but that's not true. That
It's
you
not
shouldn't
realistic.
do that. Well, no, it's holistic, which is the understanding that it's good until it's not good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everything has some kind of limitation attached to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that one piece of cake or two pieces of cake might be nice, but eating the whole cake's not a good idea. So, it's that understanding that people say don't judge, but if you don't make a decision, you don't get anywhere. So, it's necessary to have skills of judgment and to use them. And people will tell you, oh, don't judge what other people are doing. But if you can't make an assessment about anything, then you can't progress.
Yeah, it's also dangerous, isn't it?
What's dangerous?
Not to have judgment.
Well, yeah, because if you don't have judgment, you don't have discernment, and if you don't have discernment, you don't know you don't know who to trust. And if you trust the wrong people, you're screwed for life.
Oh, look, that guy just stabbed that woman. Oh, I bet he's just unhappy. Oh, hey, I'm gonna go make him happy now, so he stops stabbing people.
Yeah, just
Right.
give him some drugs and he'll be fine, right? He'll fit into society very well.
And you go and try to tell him a joke and he stabs you, right? So that's not a good idea. So you have to have some kind of... Yeah, but I think that's not the judgment that they
You
mean.
tell him a joke and he'll stab you. What's that your idea of therapy?
It's
Knock
not
knock,
therapy.
who's there?
I'm not talking about therapy, I'm talking about situation, right? Situation where you decide not to judge people. Anyway, I don't think that's the kind of judgment that they mean when they tell you don't judge. You know, I think the don't judge principle is more like don't judge until you've walked a mile in my shoes type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously that.
Obviously, it's not the don't make a, don't discern. Nobody says don't discern. You can
Yeah,
decide.
because people don't understand what the word
I
means.
mean, you can look at the person and you can decide, okay, this is a dangerous person, or this is not a dangerous person, or I'm going to trust this person, I don't know, to this level, but I don't know them that much, so I'm not going to trust them entirely just yet. Uh, so, I mean, that's rational and practical and logical, but I think the don't judge is more about, um, oh, look, this person is dressed in a funky way. They must be a hobo, and you can make assumptions that are not based in reality because you don't know about the situation of the person. So you're judging them before you know more. And the thing is that you can never know all, right?
No, but you made a good point there, which is that I think it's fine to make judgments once you have information, but I think it's wrong to make judgments without the information.
Yes, but the point is, do you ever have enough information to
That's
judge someone?
that's a non-argument, and which
That's a
that's
question. It's not an argument.
yeah, I
It's a
know.
question.
No, yeah, but what I'm saying is it's used psychologically as a non-argument. But people use that to say like, well, you never know everything, and it's like, well, that's a non-argument, because you always have to make decisions based upon the level of information that you know, and how much you know is a choice based on how much you want to know and how much time and effort you put into studying, whatever it is the subject is. So when somebody turns around and says, well, you never know everything, it's like, that's just a non-argument to sabotage the whole conversation. All that does is sabotage, because it's just it's fucking obvious, right? And too much of the Bible is used in that way, and in terms of biblical arguments, people are just like, well, I'm going to make this smart quote that's gonna the smart quote, oh, you can't sit in two chairs at the same time. It's like, you what the fuck are you even talking about, right? Because
That one is quite clear, though.
um well, no, it's not, because there are people who have two jobs, which requires them to have two different perspectives. And if you're going to be an intelligent person, you need to be able to take an idea and see it from the other side, which requires you to hold both perspectives in your mind, therefore sitting in both chairs. So this idea that you can use this blanket statement and it can actually have some kind of meaning is backwards and retarded and intellectually corrupt, because there's no way to have one single perspective and it forever to always be okay, because there's always an element of the unknown, the unpredictable, the uncertain in everything, and people need to just be more careful with their forever statements, myself included.
You know what's
You
really
know.
funny? I have a friend, and he once had two jobs. One of the jobs was translation for of a certain text for a certain company, and the second job was for a different company, and it was was it the same one? I don't know, but it was revision,
And he
and
had to review his own
and
text.
you found out that he was actually reviewing his own translation. So it was really funny because first of all, obviously he had a large, you know, um, like large pass percentage. He gave himself good reviews.
Mhm.
And second of all, he got paid twice for the same job.
Yeah, it's a bit like reviewing your own music album or something. It's
I know, it's so counterproductive.
yeah.
I
Well,
thought it was funny because
can't people just be honest about it and
it's
say,
just so funny
guys,
because
you want me to review my own stuff? Give it to somebody else.
it
Can you
was
not
it was
just?
so funny because no, I think it was for one company, and the point was how within one company, the right hand has no idea what the left hand was doing, right? Because you had like
Yeah,
one
that's a
department for
bad company.
translation and another department for review, and there you go. Bit of a mishap. That can happen, I suppose.
Yeah, but yeah, naturally people don't expect that kind of situation, but then you tell someone about it, right?
Of course.
Or you shut up and give yourself a good review, which is false, and everybody continues on down the same road, imagining that everything is okay, and maybe nothing bad happens because of it. But on the other side, maybe there's some negative effect. You don't ever know all of the different implications of things that are going to happen.
Of course. Well, look, it's not a moralizing story. It's just a funny story of something that can happen when the left hand doesn't know what the right one is doing. I just thought it was a funny anecdote. It doesn't need a moral analysis.
Yeah, it's not funny though.
It is.
It's not.
It is. It is for
Well,
the
it's-
people who
it's-
work within that system.
Well, it's sort of book humor, right? It's sort of like the reader of the book is like, oh, that's a kind of quaint, odd situation. I like the way that's been constructed. How unusual life can be. But you try to explain to somebody why the book is funny, and it suddenly becomes complicated.
Well, maybe if you were a translator, it would be funny.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that it's obviously funny to the community,
Mm-hmm.
but the the wider spectrum of society is not going to get it. It's like with the what do they call it? The NRP memes.
Excuse me.
Is it? Did I get the right letters? I can't. Is it NPR or NRP or?
I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe if you tell me the actual
Non-plain.
words, I'll be able to tell you.
Well, I'm
the
trying to
answer.
remember what the words are. That's why I'm getting the letters mixed up, because I can't remember what the words are. Right?
Well, that's really hard to answer your question then.
Non-player role, non-role player, non-person character,
Monkey, chameleon, tree,
goat, fish,
bicycle
moonrock, taco,
on a canyon,
in a canyon, on a sausage.
on a bike
What?
with a mint on top.
What? What was it she said? What was the original quote?
She said, it smells like a mint. On a sausage. On a taco. On a bicycle. In the middle of a canyon.
And what was she talking about?
I have no idea. Can't remember.
Wasn't it the food? Or
No, I think it was the vitamin that I gave her.
Ah, okay. That's a very odd smell. But that would be good for sales, right?
That'd be great. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the advertisement?
Yeah, I can. I can imagine like the zooming in or the zooming out of the camera.
Yeah, you'd
For-
get the mint, and then you'd get the sausage, and then the
Mhm.
taco, and then the bicycle, and then the canyon.
There you go. Buy these vitamins. They are
They
special.
they taste like mints on a sausage.
Much nonsense. Much nonsense. Ah. Under the duvet, I have been kicked in the ghoulies.
You probably deserved it.
I didn't deserve it.
Kicking the ghoulies is always deserved, just for being a man.
What? What?
It's one of those neo-feminist things, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is about as logical as something which is completely not logical,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep, absolutely.
Anyway, you were happy with the homeschooling meeting yesterday.
I was very happy with the homeschooling meeting yesterday, yes. And the potential it holds for more homeschooling meetings, and the potential they hold for things that are going to happen in all the outdoorsy stuff that's gonna happen when it gets a bit
Outdoorsy.
warmer, and all the activities that we can do, and things that we can bring, and how we can contribute, and what we can help organize, and how we can socialize, and it just everything. Yes, I was quite happy.
Do you have everybody's contacts in that group?
I've got, yes, I've got everybody's contacts in that group. Actually, I have been invited into a secret group that contains all the people
It's a
from
cult.
there.
It's a cult.
Mm-hmm. So I'm in a secret
Wait a
group.
minute. There's an open group that contains everybody, and then a secret group that contains everybody.
No, there is an open group that contains thousands of people all around Murray, and then there is a secret
Are
group.
there really thousands of people all around Murray who do homeschooling activities? Because I thought it was about 5.
And then it contains, and then there is a secret group that contains
The
about 10
secret
people who regularly go to the meetups, which is set up particularly to arrange details of these social gatherings.
To talk about other people, so that other people don't know that they're talking about them.
No,
No?
that's
No,
not
it's-
the purpose. No.
no.
It's basically so that I think it's basically so that they don't have to create an event, but can talk
Mhm.
to. But maybe not. Maybe they will still create events. I'll just be able to talk to each other. They'll probably still create events, because if you want to reach more homeschooling families, you have to put it out there. But I guess it might be more practical to discuss details and activities and plans and stuff. You know?
Mm.
But the point is that all the people's contacts are there. I befriended 3 of them so far.
Befriend.
Befriended. And they befriended me, actually. The ones that said that they would befriend me did.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. So that was cool.
That's proactive.
Carrie, who I thought was Tonya. Who I thought... Carrie, who I thought was 2 people.
What?
Actually. Because she changed her hair in the middle of a meeting yesterday. And I thought she was 2 different people.
You have to stop taking those pills.
No, because her hair was different when we came. And that's how I kind of, just imprinted it in my memory. And then she changed the hair, like, halfway. And I was like, oh, who's that person? She looks
Oh.
vaguely familiar. I've got terrible memory when it comes to faces. Really, really, really terrible memory when it comes to faces. It's like I meet somebody and I can have half an hour conversation with them. And if I meet them randomly just walking in town the day after, I'd be like, is that the person? Is that not the person? I don't know. Do I know them? Where do I know them from? That's weird.
That's a lack of confidence.
I just have to really focus to remember people. I had to make an effort when I was working as a waitress to remember the usual guests.
Well, you have to make an effort to do anything, really. I mean, it doesn't usually
No,
come
you don't.
automatically to people. And
Something's
when
there.
people make it look like it happens automatically, it's still usually because they put some effort into it.
That's possible.
So's that.
Yep, everything's possible.
That was audible.
No, I don't think so.
Uh,
Look at this girl. She's got her hands in the air.
she got her hands on the pillow. Her hands in the air at all. She's
She's so cute.
when she's not kicking.
They all had fun. They all had fun yesterday. That was so good.
Yeah, it was an interesting group. It was an interesting group. We'll see how it develops. We'll see how the sub communities form and who wants to have contact with who and where and why and when and whatever. There's a lot of the homeschool community is nice and friendly and progressive,
Mm-hmm.
but you do get the odd people who are more than odd.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
you
know.
you do find them. in there, who are we're homeschooling because all school is terrible and we don't want our kids in something which is so bad, and that's sort of not the point. I think the point is to realize that there are different kinds of advantages in different kinds of systems, and it's not wholly, completely and totally bad, but if you can find a better way, then it's just better.
Well, I don't think there is one correct reason for homeschooling. I think everyone has their own reasons, and that's fine.
Mhm. I thought it was interesting that the woman who had, I don't know, 4 or 5 kids, and all the other ones went to normal school, and the youngest one was homeschooled,
Uh-huh.
because she said that he was homeschooled because she was forced to do it by the school. That's what she told me.
Yeah, there's people like that in the I'm in the Facebook group, and you would be amazed how many people are like that just can't send their kids to schools because they don't have the support that they need, especially if they're on the spectrum or
And
have learning difficulties or
and
something.
the odd thing
yeah.
was that I was observing that woman's son, because she was like, oh, he's got these learning problems, and so I was observing him to see if I could pick up on what they were, and I couldn't. He seemed pretty normal to me. I mean, obviously,
Well, the thing is that
I'm not a football. Huh.
obvious. I think from what I picked up, yeah, I don't know if this is exactly how it works, but just from what I picked up from the internet. First of all, if you're in a friendly environment where you're with people who are attentive to your needs and to your reactions to situations, then it's easier, and you're not going to have meltdowns and shit, yeah, when you're on the spectrum. But if you're in school environment where people don't give a damn, right? For example, lots of people on spectrum have sensory processing problems. Yeah, so like they get upset by too much noise or too much, I don't know, visual stimulation or whatever. But when they're homeschooled, you're a parent and you pick up on that, and you can help them realize what they need. Yeah, and help teach them realize what they need in situations that are upsetting for them. But when you're not in an environment that is helpful in that way, they don't give a shit about you, which is most of schools don't give a shit about you, right? That it's like, it's just, oh, he's having a meltdown, he needs to be punished. then of course you're gonna go worse and worse and worse, and together with your sensory processing problems, you're gonna develop anxiety and fear, and it's just piles on and on and on and makes everything worse until you get to a stage where you've got huge behavioral problems, or what's judged as huge behavioral problems, which is only expression of your anxiety and of your discomfort, basically, right? And the school's just gonna kind of go like, well, we don't want to deal with this. We don't know how to deal with this. We don't have people to deal with this. You have to find a different school. Bye-bye. Basically.
Yeah, it's interesting how the system is set up to support you and help
Lots
you.
of parents, yeah. Lots of
Just
parents
rejects. She's kicking all the technology off the bed for the 20th time during this conversation.
So lots of parents are going to go to school and say, look, my child is unhappy and we need extra support. Yeah, we need a person who's going to be with our kid because the kid can't follow the curriculum under these circumstances. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the school's just going to say, well, we can't provide that to you. And you're left with a decision, well, am I going to leave my kid there with all these problems, or what am I going to do, right? So lots of people are basically forced to take their kids out of school and homeschool them because the school cannot provide support for the children that they need. Even though the system is set up so that you've got you've got there are like government programs that are set up to support such people, but they are vastly, is the word, dysfunctional. So
How unusual for a
there
government
is
system to be vastly dysfunctional.
there is a lot of children out there that are homeschooled not because their parents choose to homeschool them, but because they do not have any other option in this country. Can you believe it? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I can believe it because
Ridiculous.
I see more and more how the game is played.
I think actually the majority of the children that are taken out of the school because the school has let the children down in some sort of way. There's also a huge group of children in this country, a disturbingly huge group of children in this country that are homeschooled because of bullying.
Really?
If I say 50%, that might not actually even be enough.
That's
There
interesting.
is
I haven't
a
heard that before.
huge, seriously. I mean, you go and put the word bullying into homeschooling group, UK homeschooling group, and you're gonna have parent after parent after parent after parent giving you their horrifying stories about how their children left school because they were
Save the world again.
anxious, depressed
Trying to kick the phone off the bed.
because of bullying. Because schools don't want to deal with bullying.
Well, it's because schools encourage bullying.
And the
Because school is bullying.
Yes.
School itself is bullying.
And the most common answer of a school to bullying is blaming the victim. It's, oh well, but your kid is oversensitive, right? Or, oh well, but kids need to learn how to deal with this behavior. Or, oh well, but your kid is attracting this behavior by doing this or that. So that is the easiest for the school and the most common answer to bullying. You know, there's nothing we can do about it. You just have to teach your kid how to deal with it. That's just something that kids have to learn how to deal with. End of story. Right?
Yeah, it's
And
depressing.
and it's absolutely depressing because it's the classic blame the victim scenario, and the kids that are being bullied have massive psychological problems because of it, because it's traumatizing, because it's scary, because they cannot deal with it, because they don't have the tools to deal with it, because nobody has the tools to deal with psycho people, right? With aggressive psycho people. When you meet an aggressive psycho people in real life, what you're going to do is you're going to get away from them, right? You don't have to be with them.
Mm-hmm.
But then you take a kid and lock him up in a room with one crazy psycho person, and you just say, well, deal with it. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. So there's a huge group of people or
And
kids.
then people say you have to go to school so that you learn to socialize.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I have to spend time with people I don't like. Really?
But that's the thing. That's what they actually mean. That's when people tell you have to go to school to learn to socialize. They're actually, lots of them actually mean that you have to go to school to learn how to deal with idiots.
No, it's
That's the crazy thing.
What they're doing is telling you that you have to go to school to learn to take orders from people like us who tell you have to go to school.
No, well, yes, that's part of it, but that's not the socialization part. The socialization part is actually, people are actually telling you, your child has to go to school to toughen up, to be able to deal with bullies and people who are not very nice. That's what to socialize actually means. It doesn't only mean to make friends, it also means to be able to learn how to deal with unpleasant people. Because people think that homeschooling parents are mollycoddling their children by protecting them from bad situations, right? Reverse it. Yeah, reverse it. Try to reverse it and try to think, okay, so parents actually send their children to school to be bullied? Well, of course they don't, so it doesn't actually make sense. Anyway.
Yeah, but some do.
It's ridiculous.
Because it's projection.
It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And there's a lot of kids out there that are being homeschooled to get rid of psychological problems that have been created by bullying, such as depression and anxiety. And it works, of course, right? And they're getting better and everything. But the amount of social stigma that comes with it is just it's just ridiculous. Did you like my rant?
I did. I think there's some parents I think some parents psychologically want their children to be bullied.
But that's the thing, that they, on one level, they want their children to be in these situations to toughen up, but on the other level, no parent ever really wants their kid to be bullied, right? It's this strange. It's like a strange cognitive dissonance type thing. It's like, of course, I don't want my kid to be bullied.
Yeah,
but I do want them to have some social skills, you know. So it's like, well, you want either one or the other.
That's the disconnect.
Yeah.
That's the cognitive dissonance, which.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is that
they
people
don't realize that one is actually the other.
Well, because they're arguing that. It's like arguing that I want my child to experience all the colors, but I'm going to send them to a place where there's only black and white.
I don't know if it's that. I think it's like, I want my children to be able to solve conflicts rationally with other children, and that's great. But if you've got a bully, it's not a person that you can solve conflicts rationally with, right? So I think that's where the difference is. That's where the problem arises.
Well, all the bully knows is that bullying is the right way. That's the mindset of the bully, and they get that obviously from experience at home.
Yeah, or maybe even experience at school.
Yeah. Okay, there's that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they're getting it from experience. And I'm saving the world again. If they're getting it from experience at school, then they're also signaling that they don't have the support at home, because there's no bully that would bully a kid if they feared some repercussion at some point. They wouldn't, because. No, they do have to. You do have to fear repercussions, because the bully will only bully people that they're pretty certain they can get away with bullying, right? They're not going to bully someone who's going to turn around and bite back. They just bullies are bullies because they pick on weaker people. They don't pick on stronger people. They pick on weaker people.
Yes, but
That's
it's not children that
mentality.
don't. It's not bullies are not children that do not fear repercussions. No.
No, that's not what I'm not saying that. I didn't say that bullies are. Well, what did you say? I'm confused by the statement.
You said that. I said that bullies are not children that don't fear repercussions. There might be a certain element of that in it, but bullies are often children that actually do fear repercussions for whatever other things.
Oh yeah, okay. There's,
it's often children that are being physically punished at home. I think it's more about the power dynamic. As the children who feel extremely powerless, in my opinion, I'm not a psychologist, obviously, but I would guess that it's the children that are feeling extremely powerless, and therefore they need to bring balance to their own mind and to their own, power thing. need for at least some kind of power by trying to assume power over other people, because that's what they've been taught at home.
Oh yeah, well they want to turn other people into themselves.
So
they themselves are victims, and their aim is to turn other people into victims as well, because it's no different from you, like I don't know, like Eminem or Metallica or whatever, and you want other people to like Eminem or Metallica. You want to turn other people into you, and that's what a lot of projected change is about, either on a personal level or on a business level or whatever else. You want other people to like what you like. I mean, that's the whole basis of the social media principle.
I
Yeah.
think they need to. I think it's often that kids, they don't need to. It's not necessarily the kids that are only being, physically punished at home, but it can be people from any homes that don't feel like they matter or like they have a say.
Well, yeah, and the projection is, I don't matter, so why should you? They want other people to feel their pain. Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
That's the principle.
Yeah. So anyway, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that kids need support. The bullied kids need support. The bullying kids need support. And school cannot give them that support. Not in as it is right now. I'm not saying any school, right? I'm pretty sure that there are schools out there that try their best to address problems, yada yada yada. It's all individual, right? But just by seeing all the people that are coming out of the system hurt and needing to heal gives me the idea that most of the system is flawed. There might be individuals that are not flawed and that are, keeping it above the surface and that are doing a good job and everything.
Well, yeah, you have to scratch through the
unfortunately-
surface to find out what's there underneath. And
Unfortunately, it's not enough. It's just not enough.
yeah, all anybody has to do is ask people to tell them more about what it is their perspective is or why they're doing what they're doing, and I'm being kicked, I'm being pushed, I'm being stuff's getting thrown off the bed.
The coffee's horrible.
What?
Thank you for the coffee.
It's a horrible coffee. You're welcome. You're welcome with a horrible coffee.
You've got a nice sunrise.
What I wanted to say before I forget is that all people have to do to find out what is going on is ask questions. And by ask questions, you don't even have to go deep. You just have to say to people, okay, tell me more about why you think that is what it is, or tell me more about why that idea interests you. And people will open up and talk about their craziness as if it's perfectly normal. So people really need to explore those issues. Most people working in schools can't talk deeply about what's happening in the school because it's not really a deep subject.
Yes, darling. What's wrong?
What's up? What's up, Jazz?
It's
Jazz.
okay, darling. You're in bed.
You're in bed, Jazz. It's okay.
It's fine. Oh, do you want to cuddle? I'll take you to your own bed, yeah? Yeah?
You
want
okay,
me to take you
Jazz?
to your own bed?
Do you want to go to your own bed? Jazz, you have to go out the other side of the bed with Mummy. I will try to rescue the microphone and the cables. And is it possible you could take her foot off this cable that's here before she pulls everything out and unplugs everything? That would be really great. Can you move the foot off the cable that's there? Okay. Yeah, a little bit of saving the world once again. I'll try not to write over the bed with the pen at the same time. And that's all failed horribly, as ink has now been spilt all over the bed. Yep. Okay. Well, there we go. You can't avoid disasters. It's just part of how everything goes. Oh. Let's see what this is. Oh, yep, definitely. She put pressure on the pen, and the pen has leaked ink out all over the bed. Yeah. I guess nothing exists that isn't isn't going to deteriorate at some level, in some way or another. Sorry? I did not almost smash your face in the door. I was leaning over to close the door because I didn't know when you were going to be back or what was happening, and the grandparents wander around the house and make weird noises and stuff, and so I was closing the door because it's usually always left open, and I don't like people staring at me when I'm in bed because it's just a weird thing to have happen. Anyway, maybe I should pause this. Now I've just lost the pen that just leaked all over the bed in the middle of all that chaos. Where did it go? Where's the pen? Ah! What's going on? Somewhere in this bed there is a pen. Never mind. It's not important. The world is not going to end because of this. Or at least I hope not. Even though it looks like out the window that the sun might never come up. But I guess it always does eventually. No matter how dark the night is, there's always light at the dawn of the day, for sure.
Look at that.
Look at what?
What the hell is that?
What the hell is what?
Well, that huge
What?
chunk of duvet.
The huge chunk of duvet is Jasmine kicking the duvet off the bed for the last hour while we've been doing the podcast. Every 2 minutes, she's either kicked the duvet off the side of the bed, or kicked the notes off the bed, or kicked the pen off the bed, or kicked my mobile phone, or kicked the microphone, or pulled the duvet, or done something like that. And the last thing she did was lean on the pen, which caused it to leak on the bed, so now there's a big ink stain on the bed.
Oh my gosh, let's blame it all on Jasmine, shall we?
Look, I'm not blaming Jasmine. I'm giving you a fact. Okay, so don't tell me that I'm blaming someone when all I'm doing is giving you a fact about what happened. Okay? Yeah, I'm not like, oh, Jasmine is responsible for making a mess of the bed. I'm just saying, this is what happened. This is the result. Why did you open the curtains?
Because I wanted to see the bloody sunrise. That's why.
It's freezing cold.
It's a sunrise. Get over it.
It's so cold the sunrise is frozen.
I open the curtains because I want to see what's happening in the world about.
How do you expect to see the sunrise when there's nothing but clouds everywhere?
Because I can see the sunrise.
Can you see through clouds?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You can't.
You can see it under
Keep
the
taking
clouds.
the drugs.
Right there behind
What?
that tree.
What? You can see through the tree.
No, yes.
What? No, yes. What kind of answer is that?
I can see through the tree.
What?
I can see the sunrise.
That's no. With that little bit of light over there.
Yes.
Yeah. The sun is rising over there somewhere.
Yes. It is. It's nice.
What?
It's nice.
I don't. Yeah. The sun has moved. How irresponsible of it. That's ridiculous. Because it used to be right there. And all I can see is patchy dark blue sky. Clouds, basically. And
I can see the sunrise.
you've got a nice view.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair.
I would let you move over closer to me, but
What?
I can't because you've got all the duvet.
I don't have all the fucking duvet.
Do.
Look, you're the person who got into bed and pulled all the warm duvet that I'd warmed up off of me onto you.
That's because you've got like a meter hanging down the bed. And
That's because Jazz kicked it off the side of the bed. It's
I've
not
got
my
like a
fault
half
it's
a meter
there.
gap.
What?
I've got draft
What?
coming under my duvet. It's draft under the duvet.
What? You can't have draft under a duvet? It's impossible.
Because you don't have enough duvet, and it's got these tunnels, and you get draft through the tunnels and
What?
duvet.
Fucking tunnels? What are you, a miner? What the fuck is going on? tunnels under the
I'm
bed.
not a minor. I'm a
Secret
major.
places. Secret groups.
There
with
was a lady who
secret
thought I was
meanings.
a minor, obviously, the other day. And
What?
she asked me for my ID because I was buying you a bottle of rum.
Minor? What? Oh, minor as in a little person of no consequence.
No, I mean like minor as a person who's not, who hasn't come of age yet.
That's what I meant.
What, little person of no consequence?
Yes.
Children are little persons of no consequence.
According
That's
to
how you,
the-
that's how
according
you
to-
define
According
a
to the
child.
according to the rules of society, it's not my definition. It's not my definition. It's society's
Well,
definition.
if you don't agree with it, don't use it.
What?
If you don't agree with it, don't use it.
Like I don't agree with the fact that there are fucking holes in the roads around here, but I still use the roads for fuck's sake because it's more practical. Yeah.
You don't use the holes there.
I don't agree with the fucking weather, but that's like I don't.
How
Yeah,
can you
that's-
not agree with the weather? You cannot not.
How can you
agree
not? How
with
can you?
the
What do you mean? How can
weather.
you not agree with the weather when you were the person going? Did you hear the sleet or whatever the fuck it was last night?
Yes, I
bouncing
heard
off
the
the
sleet
window
last
and-
night bouncing off the window, but that doesn't mean I don't agree with the weather. But you cannot agree with the weather. There's nothing to agree or
The
disagree
weather
with. It
here
just
is not
happens.
agreeable. It's not. The weather here is not agreeable. It is not. It is not to the taste of my palate.
Yes, but it doesn't mean that you don't agree with it.
Yes,
Well,
it
you
does.
gotta-
Yes,
you gotta-
Yes, it does. I don't agree with it.
But what are you going to do? Are you going to protest? Are you going to express your disagreement? Are you going to complain about it?
I'm going to express the lack of agreeability. That's
I
how it's
strongly disagree.
going.
Don't you dare raining on me again. I strongly disagree with that.
I disagree with the fact that people think the weather might be agreeable here. I find it disagreeable.
Well, of course, because it's freaking winter.
It's because it's not logical at all.
I was talking to that Russian woman. She's the only person who can empathize when it comes to what it's like to mother when there's a lot of snow.
What do you mean? Well, kids love snow.
Exactly.
It's fine. They go out and play in it and do their thing.
Yes, exactly.
Scottish kids don't know what snow is. They get their perspective of snow from
Hallmark
w-
movies.
windy. They don't know what Hallmark movies are. Windy mountain tops and
No, look,
uh,
look. I understand that. I
Skiing
know that
holidays.
children love snow. You know how I know that children love snow?
because they love snow.
Because I was the one who was standing on top of the fucking hill, knees up to my snow.
What?
Snow up to my knees.
Knees up to your fucking snow. What's that exercise?
I was the one who's standing on the hill with the snow up to my knees for 2 hours, trembling and trying not to freeze while the kids were enjoying the snow. Did I enjoy that? No, not really. Kids love it. Kids love it so much
you
they
should
can
have been
do
doing
that
what the
every
kids were
day.
doing. No?
Look,
It's fun for kids because they do stuff. It's
Yes.
not fun for adults 'cause adults don't do stuff.
exactly. You can only slide off the bloody hill 3 times before it gets incredibly boring, right?
What? You weren't sliding properly.
Well, I didn't have the ski to slide properly.
Well, you don't need a ski to slide. You just slide.
Yes, but it's not exactly my hobby to slide down the hill. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm so boring.
I didn't say it had to be a hobby.
But the kids enjoy doing that again and again and again for 2
Just co-
hours
just
every
copy wh-
single day.
Just copy what the kids do.
I did, darling. It's not exactly my favorite thing to do, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm very happy that the kids had outdoorsy time every day for 2 hours, yeah?
Doorsy time.
But having to supervise that outdoorsy time for 2 hours every day and -10 is not fun. It's just not.
No?
No.
No?
No.
Mm. It's not the same if you can't build a snowman. I don't know what people in Jamaica do.
They probably go surfing. And they're laughing at all those frozen people that are
all
the
those people
snowdrift.
who choose to live up there in the northern hemisphere, they're all insane. Because it's so bloody cold.
They're probably surfing and thinking, "Ooh, I love surfing. I don't know what the people in Scotland do. How can they not surf all winter?"
Because you die of hypothermia. Just by going outside.
They're probably like, "Oh, it must be terrible to live in Finland this time of year. Ha ha. You can't even wear your swimming suit out to the shops."
I don't know. People don't get it. They don't appreciate the aspect. They know that I was complaining about the weather, but for me the weather is different from climate. You know, there's a bigger picture and a smaller picture. It's like, in the bigger picture, it's like you can't fuck with the seasons, right? But the smaller picture is still that, you know, there are some days where it wouldn't be bad to have slightly nicer weather.
I told you. We should just go and live in Cyprus.
With all the immigrants.
Yeah.
Isn't Cyprus full of immigrants now?
I don't know. I haven't been there. How would I know?
I don't know, you just said go and live there, so I thought you knew something about the place.
No, I just know that they have cheap real estate stuff.
Yeah, it's because nobody wants to live there now, because it's full of immigrants.
Yay!
High crime, low prospect.
Well, then come up with something.
What?
Come up with something.
We're fucking here, where that problem doesn't exist.
Yes, I love that.
No, you don't.
I don't.
Because
No,
when someone
I do.
says I love that twice, it's like, well,
I do. I really do. I only have
tried to
one problem.
Trying to convince yourself there. I do. I really do. Come on. I know I can do this. I know I can do this.
I only have one problem,
Which
and
is
that
a big
is
fucking problem. I can
that
tell
is
it's
that I'm
coming.
not making enough money to be able to actually afford to well, anything really. That's my only problem.
That's okay. People give away stuff for free in this part of the world.
Yeah, they don't give houses for free though.
Almost.
Not really. You can find me somebody who gives me a house.
It's not
for
quality stuff though. Like I said, like when I was in that council house the other day, it's like, ooh. You know, on the outside they'll present it like everything is fine, but nobody wants to talk about the facts, which is this whole country inside out. This whole country inside out is that people want to present on the surface that everything is great and everything is peachy and everything is wonderful and everything is tip fucking top. But the truth is you scratch through the surface and it's fucking rotten.
I don't think anybody expects council houses to be tip fucking top, G.
No, I didn't say that people expected council houses to be tip fucking top. What I'm saying is people expect them in general to be average and they're much worse. That's what I'm saying.
If it's
it doesn't even live up to the average label that it should have. It doesn't even get close to that. Right. It's a downward spiral with no upscale until you burn the fucking system to the ground and restart again.
You were in one council flat out of a lot of council flats. A lot of neighborhoods that are different that offer council housing. So
it's all the same everywhere. In my life, like 20 years ago, I was in and around the things, and it hasn't improved.
Okay.
It has not improved. 20 years ago, I was helping out the families with kids in the estates in London, and I have not seen anything to make me think that anything has got better. It's only got worse since that point in time.
I lived in one council flat in London and it was fine.
Yeah, because you were young and prepared to put up with lower standards, I imagine. And sharing with other people, and all the things that go with just being happy to be in another country and being busy with being young and working and trying to survive, I imagine.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I'm just saying that it wasn't a dirty place full of cockroaches or whatever. It's just your normal, ordinary flat. That it was small, yeah, but it was okay. It was nice enough. There was no, there's no peeling plaster or no smell of poop or anything like that. It's just ordinary flat. Obviously, it was illegally rented to us, which we didn't know, which we only learned after we got to know other people from around the area who filled us in. And then we realized, okay, this is what's happening. And we got out of there. But yeah, it was a council flat and it was alright. Because obviously you're not supposed to privately rent out council flats. That you're given by the council. So there you go.
Yeah, because people don't respect stuff that they get for free.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah, it was a crafty lady who just wanted to make some money on the side.
Crafty. I think that
Crafty lady wanted to make some money on the side by stealing the deposit as well.
Yeah?
Yes.
But they all do that in London. I don't know. I don't know anyone.
Nope.
Who's lived in London and rented a property and who's got their deposit back.
I do.
I don't know
Twice.
anybody.
I did it twice. Through the same landlord.
Mm-hmm.
There was this lady who owned multiple properties in London, and we rented out a flat from her once, and then the second time we went in, we did the same thing because we just, randomly contacted her. We were like, look, after we lived in the council flat, we were like, we're looking for something else, and she rented us the other apartment that we lived in, and she always gave us the full deposit back. No questions asked, anything. She came, had a look at the flat, and said, okay, it's fine, here you go. Bye-bye. Had absolutely no problem with that. So, yeah, there you go.
Oh, maybe there are some good people out there.
Yeah, she was just, very normal.
How unusual.
Yeah.
To be normal.
Uh-huh.
Has the sun risen yet? Are you enjoying the sky over there?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't see the sun, but I can see the sky. It's really nice.
Is it all peachy colours?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yellow.
Orange.
What? I can't see the orange because it's too far over your side. Bring me some orange from the sky.
I had
Please.
good experiences.
It's all very cool. It's all very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What else has been happening?
Nothing.
What?
Everything's been happening.
It's been a busy week, no?
Oh, it's been a very busy week. We've been to the Coder Dojo,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been to the business meeting.
We have.
And before then, we were at the Taekwondo. And on Tuesday, we're going to the drama class and the Taekwondo. Oh gosh, yeah, it's very busy. Gets a bit too busy, I think.
No, it's good to be busy, no?
And I've got, it is. Yeah, I've got busy work as well.
Yeah, maybe, like I said, maybe on Thursday next week, I'm going to go to Inverness for this meeting about planning for this year. You know what's weird, apart from all the things that are obviously weird?
What's weird?
It's the business aspect of the. It's the over focus on the Brexit thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where everyone is talking about it,
But
and
it's actually the least
and it's actually the least important thing,
yeah.
and it's very odd to me to be in conversations with people and for them to talk about it as if it's the most important thing when it doesn't mean
It seems to me
anything.
seems to me like the least consequential
It
thing
it
for
does
smaller businesses right
it
now.
doesn't
I
it
mean, they've got so much more stuff to deal with what the governments that throws the logs under their feet right now, which has nothing to do with Brexit, right? It has to do
yeah.
with other things and.
Well, it's a bit like, it's a bit like somebody saying, "Look at that hill over there. We have to do something about it." And I'm like, the hill is not going to change anything at all about your business. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's not going to have any effect on your workflow. It's not going to have any effect on your ability to put energy into your business. It's not
It's like
going
a
to have.
distraction, isn't it? It's like a huge distraction from the actual thing, the actual problems that are actually happening, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. It's an example of people talking about something they have no power over in order to feel better, because if they focus on what they should be doing, they only realize what they're not doing and then feel
Yeah.
depressed about it.
It's like you were talking about the minimum wage, yeah?
Yeah.
The minimum wage changed, which meant the problem for the businesses. So instead of being concerned about that, they're concerned about Brexit. It might have absolutely no impact on their business, right? They don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah, it's a bit like saying, okay, it's a bit like worrying what the weather's going to be like on the 14th of June.
While you're stuck in a blizzard in January.
Yeah, it is. It's completely like that. And people's perspectives are so far away from what they need to be part of. Thinking that this is in any way important at all. And as you said, distraction is the key word. I think any time that something is thrown in everybody's face, it's to keep their mind off of other things. And people are not aware
I
of
can't
it.
help but thinking that Brexit's going to be beneficial. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just weird. Maybe I haven't thought about it properly. But I can't help but thinking that it's going to be beneficial. It's going to be like pulling off a plaster, right? It's going to hurt for a while. But in the long run, I've got a feeling that it may be beneficial. Because it's just because the country may keep, maybe I'm completely delusional, but it's like the country can keep more neutrality, maybe some sort of more power over itself, more self-government, more I just feel like
Yeah,
people
but you're
are
not
gonna
allowed.
have
You're
more
not
power.
allowed to have that. Didn't you get the memo? You not don't you remember Ireland? We vote to leave. Oh no, you can't. Okay, we vote to stay. That's right. Well done, guys. I mean, that was not that long ago, right? Have people forgotten that there is no EU? There is no economic union of the countries for 20, 25 years, 30 years. Every newspaper printed that. Yeah? And then suddenly one day they printed, oh, there is. We lied. Sorry. Has everybody forgotten that? 30 years of lying every single day in the newspapers.
I don't know. I wasn't there back
Well, I
then
was. I
reading
was.
the
I lived.
newspaper.
I lived through it. Every TV program, every radio program, every newspaper printed lies every single day for 30 years.
In Britain.
Yes.
And what did they print?
That there is no EU.
What?
Yes.
When?
For 30 years.
When did they print that?
Well, do you remember Slovakia celebrating 50 years of EU membership?
Of Slovakia? Are you crazy? Slovakia didn't enter EU 50 years ago.
I know. That's why it was crazy. They had a big celebration with flags and stories in newspapers.
It could have been a celebration of 50 years of European economic whatever.
Yeah, that's the
area,
yeah. Okay,
right?
okay. Let's not trip over terminology. Okay, that's what the European Union is.
Yes, I know that's
They
what
just
it developed
transitioned the
from, yeah.
phrases every 2 or 3 years. They changed a word and the phraseology of it until they got to European Union. That's it.
They actually unified the various the individual unions. Did the contracts?
There's no contract. It's not a contract. There's people got to get that through their heads. It's not a contract, because a contract you can break.
Yes.
It's not a contract because it actually states that nobody can leave.
I don't know what it states.
It states that nobody can leave. Therefore, it's not a contract.
So I cannot really discuss that point because I have no knowledge about it.
It states that nobody can leave.
But as far as I know, there were multiple unions within Europe.
No, it was the coal, steel, and steel trade agreement.
Yes, yes, I know.
Which was Germany taking over the economic power of Europe before the end of the Second World War.
Okay. But there were about like three things that then merged with that altogether to form European Union, no?
Yes, it was Hitler's plan. It was Hitler's economic plan, which wasn't directly Hitler's plan. It was his economic advisor's plan. But
obviously.
But it was just call it the Hitler plan because it was easier to define that way. Right? I mean, obviously it was more complicated, but it was the German plan for a single currency and a single market, which most of the power elites agreed with, but the people didn't like. Now, there's not going to be a Brexit. It's impossible. If the European Union have to come and assassinate everybody who's going to vote that they want the Brexit, then they'll come and do that. They've already tried to kill Nigel Farage about 3 times, without whom Britain wouldn't have voted for Brexit. So it's they don't have any. Don't get it twisted. They don't have any problems putting bullets in people's heads. Right?
I'm not getting it twisted.
To get what it is that they want, there is one road, there is one path, and no one's allowed to leave. It's an old boys club, and the young boys have to pay their dues. They have to follow the rules. No one's allowed to leave.
I will take that on board with the fact that you have said things about general political scene that were not correct before, so I'm gonna.
Okay, let's go back then. Let's go back then. Tell me what I said. Tell me what I said is not correct.
Well, for one, you said there was going to be war in Europe in 2012, which never happened.
I said there will be invasion through immigration.
No, that's not what you said.
I said there will be invasion through immigration, which is what happened. Invasion through immigration is one of the most subtle forms of war that exist. Now, you might think of war in your head as the people shooting at each other with guns and helicopters and tanks and things like that. We're far beyond that age. We're in a different kind of war. We're in a more soft type of
Yeah, you're rewriting
evolution.
history because that is not how you put it back then.
Well, look, obviously there's going to be guns in the streets if things get more serious, and there's always the potential for that. But what happened around the time of what you said, 2012, yeah? What happened around the time of 2012 is that governments started to take a slightly harder line against immigration and realized they needed to toughen up their borders. And we've all seen the destruction of the southern parts of Europe due to immigration. The whole hotels and whole areas had to close down because of immigrants being there. The infrastructure in Italy collapsed. They eventually voted in a right-wing government that said we're not allowing any, unqualified immigrants into the country, and we have to protect the borders. And so that was the soft revolution of war. That was the people fighting back against the systems. So Europe came to the brink or the edge of a major conflict at that period of time. But it was managed and handled pretty well by the people who turned around and said, okay, let's use the systems that we have in place in order to try to soften the blows.
And I also remember multiple times when you said, oh, there's going to be a major terrorist attack within the next week, and that would never happen. Of course, there was.
And what about the times where I said that there's going to be major problems, and there were major problems? What about the times I said there's going to be major problems in Paris, and there were major problems in Paris? What about times when I said Brussels has to be careful, and there were problems in Brussels? What about the times I said that Northern Europe's going to have problems with immigrants, and there were stories in the newspapers of there was one night where there was 100 cars burned across the capital cities there.
Hey.
So I got all of those right.
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
But the things that you got right are not the things that make me wait and see whether you're going to be right this time. It's the things that you weren't right in that make me stop and wait and see whether you're going to be right this time. Do you understand that?
Yes,
I'm not saying that you weren't right
at least
all the time.
Look, at least
I'm just saying that there were times that you weren't right, and therefore I'm just going to wait it out and see what happens.
There's nothing.
Okay.
Okay, about the political movement, I explained why I was perfectly right with that. About the terrorist attacks, and shaking your head is not an argument. About the political movement, I was perfectly right with how I judged that. Okay? About the terrorist attacks, some of those I was not right about because I mentioned it in the wrong places. Because if you look at the places where it did happen, there were a lot of attacks in Southern Europe, which going back makes more sense now, and the benefit of hindsight makes us realize that. And it didn't get to places like Slovakia because Hungary toughened up their border control and forced people to go around the country instead of through the country. So people put in places the rules to stop those kinds of problems. So
how about 2 years ago when you sent us to Britain because you said that you have to leave, you have to go to Britain because there's going to be war here?
It's still pretty much...
And then you called us back 3 weeks afterwards.
I didn't say that you have to go because there's going to be war. There was a huge potential for major conflicts at that point.
That was
at
3
that point
years ago.
in time.
Sorry. 3.
Yeah. And were there not political assassinations at that point in time? Yes. If you look back and look at the political assassinations that happened across Europe at that time, there were at least 3 that I can think of now where the right-wing political candidates were killed or assassinated. Yeah, in major European countries. Holland was one. I think Belgium was another one. And I can't remember where else. I think Germany. Okay, so there have been huge numbers of problems. There were huge problems with immigrants coming into countries. Like the Slovak government like had to say, look, stop this. We don't want this. We don't want these people in our country because they're not contributing to the economy. They're draining it. Were there problems in
Oh, okay.
banks and loans? Yes, there were problems with huge
Can we
banks and
stop?
loans. Did Greece fall apart?
Can we
Yes, it
stop? Can
did.
we stop the rant? All I'm saying is that I'm taking on board what you're saying, but I will wait and see what happens.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
I'm not going to say, okay, yes, I agree, this is going to happen. I'm
look,
taking the stance.
it.
You know,
Maybe it's going to take longer than I say for it to happen. But and maybe hopefully we can avoid the conflicts because none of us want to have the conflicts. But at the same time, Britain is in a terrible position. Socioeconomically right now. It's in a terrible position politically.
geographically as well.
It's always been a terrible position geographically. And it would the British government would benefit from a major conflict or a major terrorist attack right now. Okay? That's exactly what would happen. What about the times when there was the G5 summit in Glasgow and there was a terrorist attack in London? I mean, that was predictable that was going to happen to make people feel sorry for the leaders, and obviously it's more complex than that. But you've got to look at the 1,000 nuanced points. It's possible that Trump as the president of the U.S. is not going to last more than another 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the power struggles. There's push and there's pushback, and maybe the powers that be want some level of the conflict in order to keep people on the edge so that things keep moving forward, and that's fair enough and that's understandable. At the same time, there are psychopaths in these positions as well, and there's a strong move politically at the moment to remove Trump from office, and that's going to cause massive problems of stability geopolitically, because Trump was elected by the people and he needs to serve out his term so the people can elect somebody else if they're not happy with him. Right? He has to have the opportunity to serve out his term and complete his promises, and then for people to assess and see what he does.
Well, yes, but you have safeguards and processes that exist to allow people to decide that he should end his office earlier than that. There's always safeguards and proper processes that can give people the power to do that. You don't always have to wait out the entire 4 years. At least in Slovakia. If everybody realizes.
If you're talking about people can change their opinion, you have to realize that everybody can be wrong as much as they can be right.
That are in place that are supposed to serve situations in which people realize that the president is not okay, or starts doing things that are unexpected or whatever, and they decide that he's a dangerous person and has to get off there. Then there are political processes that are correct and legal to remove people from the office. One of them is, for example, like in the parliament or in the government in Slovakia, if a majority pronounces a lack of trust towards the prime minister, then the prime minister can be got rid of the office because the parliament pronounced that they don't trust them. For example.
Because because you're electing a party, not a minister. The systems are different. You have to be careful.
I know the systems are different.
So you're electing the party, not the minister. The party then have the right to choose a new leader. Okay? You're not, in Britain, you are electing a party, not a minister. Right? So the party then have the right to change their leader. It's different in the American system because you're electing a leader, not a party.
Yes, I understand that. But they have to
You can't apply the same principles.
But they have to have things in place that can serve a situation where the president can be, put down.
Well, he was. Kennedy was shot in the head.
Well, yes, obviously I didn't mean put down in that sense.
Yeah, but that's one of the options.
Yeah, I'm talking about legal processes, not assassination.
That is legal.
No, it's not legal. to assassinate
Assassination is a legal process.
somebody. Oh, that's ridiculous now.
Well, that's the truth.
It's perfectly legal to assassinate somebody.
Yes.
So I can just go to America and just shoot people. That's legal, right?
No, you just changed the definition there. You have to be... Look, assassination is a legal process.
So I
That's
could
what
just
you don't understand.
I could go to the corner shop and assassinate the shop assistant there, right?
No, because you don't understand what assassinate means.
Assassinate means kill somebody.
No, it doesn't.
Assassination is when somebody orders
Yes.
a killing of a person.
For a political or religious reason.
Or does
That-
it
that-
can't
that's
be any other reason?
No, that's the definition.
Well, okay. Well, what if I don't agree with the religion of that person in the
But
corner
that
shop?
doesn't matter what you agree with. It matters what the law says. What you think is irrelevant. So it matters what the law says. In Britain, it's legal for the government to kill people.
Well,
It's
if
actually legal.
if it's legal to assassinate people
Yes, of course.
for
that-
religious
that's-
reasons, then I can go to the corner shop and I can. Or I
No,
can
listen.
send
If you
someone
want,
to the
you can be
corner
as
shop
stupid and
and,
dumb as you want to be about this. But if you
have them
listen to
killed.
me, I will try to help you understand how
I'm
the
trying-
law works. But you have to listen, not speak, if you want to understand. I can explain it to you, but it requires listening. And assassination is a legal process.
That's not an explanation. That's just repeating what you said.
Yeah, which you didn't understand because you think that you can go and kill somebody, and that's you going to kill someone is not a legal process. Assassination is a legal process. You are given permission by a person in authority who has the legal right to authorize a killing. That is assassination. Assassination is a legal process. You cannot, for the legal authorization of a killing, it is not a crime.
Where is that? Which law does state that?
In Britain,
Mhm.
it's the crimes against the state law.
Crimes against the state law.
Yes.
Okay.
For crimes against the state, you can be assassinated by the government, and it's a legal process.
And the crimes against the state are. What is it? What
It's
is
whatever
a
it's
crime
whatever the
against the
state defines as a crime against the state.
Is
It's
that
up to the
how it's
state.
put in the law?
Yes.
Whatever the state defines as a crime against the state, they can assassinate you for it.
Yes,
Legally.
I've paraphrased it, but that's I don't know the exact wording of the 20 or 30 paragraphs. Okay. For crimes against the state, you can be assassinated. In Britain, you can be killed by the government legally. That's what happened to Dr. David Kelly. That was an assassination. That was a crime against the state. That's what happened
was
to.
the crime? What was the crime that he committed against the state?
It was testimony that there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, which was against the British government policy, which was to go to war. That's a fact. You can go read about it. It's a fact.
Okay.
He was given testimony, and he was expected to testify that there were weapons of mass destruction and that Britain should go to war. And he told the truth that there were no weapons of mass destruction. There was no reason to go to war.
And therefore, he was officially assassinated.
Yes.
Like the government officially admitted, okay, we assassinated him because of the crimes against the state. Because if it's legal, if it's legal, then they can obviously officially confirm that as something that happened, right?
Yes, but you realize governments don't confirm that officially.
Oh,
Because they
why
can't.
not if it's legal?
They can't because of repercussions.
What
Because a future
repercussions?
government could get into power and change the law and then apply that to the actions of people in the past. It's happened before.
You can't do that legally.
Yeah,
You cannot change the law and then apply it to what happened before the law was changed.
that happens constantly. If you put that into Google and you search applications of this, you will find constant examples of it. The European Union is that, because the contracts signed by companies, but by countries to get into the European Union, which are not actually real contracts anyway, predate the signing of the actual contract. So that's not it's a double non.
Contracts predate the signing of the actual contract.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know.
What contracts predate the signing of what contracts?
Okay, the documents to integrate countries into the European system.
Yes.
The actual documents go back to the original instigation of the European Union, not the later one. Not.
So you're talking about the steel and the coal thing?
Yeah. So you get they're called retroactive laws.
Yes, but you still have to sign that.
Yes, but they're still called retroactive laws. It doesn't change the fact that.
Yeah, but you have the choice to agree with it.
You would if you could, but they don't allow you to disagree. Well, they allow you to have a voice, but they don't allow you to not follow the directive.
Yeah, but you can choose whether you're going to sign it or not.
Yeah, they put a bullet in your head if you don't.
Well, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
Did every single country signed?
Every single country in Europe signed.
Getting into European Union? No, they didn't, because
Switzerland
not all
didn't,
countries. Not all countries are part of European Union.
Yes, some. Yeah, which ones are not? So Switzerland isn't.
I can't remember.
But it's pretty much. Like I don't know what the percentage is. It must be like 95%.
Could be.
Yeah, look, Switzerland is not a part, but that's created problems for Switzerland economically. But that's a double-edged sword. So I mean, and a complex scenario. But
I don't know. Switzerland seems to be doing all right.
Yeah, there are lots of reasons for that, though.
Yes, I know what the reasons for that are.
There's lots of historical reasons for it, and lots of practical reasons as well.
Yes, I know that.
So anyway, the point is assassination is legal.
Well, I'm going to have to look at the law.
Assassination is a legal process. You
don't have to repeat it. I'm going to have to look at the law.
Yeah. So, Kennedy was assassinated. That was by the government. That was a legal process. Martin Luther King was assassinated. That was by the government. That was a legal process. John F. Kennedy was assassinated. That was by the government. That was a legal process.
So nobody had to go to prison for those assassinations?
No.
Well, I will have a look at it.
Governments assassinate people.
Look, I know they do.
Rather regularly, unfortunately.
I know they do. Okay.
And
I know they do, but I didn't think it was a legal process.
It's a legal process because you can't be because normally, of course, the natural law is that if you kill someone, it's a crime and you should be punished for it, right?
Yes.
But
it's not natural law; it's the criminal law.
Yeah, there's a difference between. I'm not talking about the law of nature. I'm talking about common law. Okay.
Yes, but killing is in the criminal law. It's not in the common law.
Killing, I believe killing is also in the common law. I have to double check that. I haven't studied that. So, but I believe it is in the common law, and that you should be punished for that. But in the state law, it's not. It's like how they define like financial crimes, right? So it's it's do X and it's a crime and you go to prison, and do Y because there's a different word there, and it's not.
Yes, so who decides what law are you going to be judged by?
Government. The judges. The judges make the decisions in the courts, and the courts are run by the government. So the government's not going to act against itself. I mean, it would be nice to think that the government would act against itself, but what is the, what are the last official statistics?
Can the judge just say, oh well, the criminal law doesn't apply in this instance?
Yes.
This is the instance where the state law applies, and the state law doesn't talk about murder. I mean, that's just
I don't know what you're talking about there, but can the judges decide? Yes, I mean, Princess Diana was murdered. That was an assassination. And that came out in court.
Yeah.
And nobody was ever punished for it because it was an official assassination. So it happens. There was the minister that was killed in Scotland as well. There was I got a picture of him in my head. Can't remember his name, but he was one of the main advocates in government against the war in Iraq. Was killed in Scotland, not far from here, actually.
So a judge in the court is going to say, you know, the defendant is considered not guilty because it wasn't a murder, it was assassination.
But there's no defendant in those examples. You're taking it a step further. There's no defendant, because the person who's accused is not a person. The person who's accused is the government.
Why can't I accuse the person?
Because the person is protected under official secrets.
What happens if I decide to accuse the person?
You can't.
You can't.
You can't.
So if I go to the court and I say, hey, I'd like to accuse this person because I saw them murdering that other person, what, the court's going to turn you down and say you can't do that?
That doesn't happen, what you said, ever.
Why?
No one ever does that.
Why?
Because you have to file a court case and you have to go through a process.
And? Well, that's my question.
You wouldn't do that.
How does it practically work? What if I file a court case?
For what?
For
what?
Well, let's see that Princess Diana is my grandmother, right?
Right.
And somebody murders her, yes? Yeah. And I go to court and I say, hey, somebody murdered my grandmother here. I'd like to file a court case because I think I might know who it is and I want to, you know, have an investigation and I want to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and that happened, basically.
Yeah. So what's going to happen?
Official Secrets Act. The trial takes place, but no one's allowed to report on it.
The trial takes place then? Okay.
No, it's not the trial that takes place, sorry, it's an inquiry. It's not a trial, it's an inquiry.
It's an inquiry.
Yeah.
So they're going to officially tell me, we inquired in it, but we found out that it's assassination, not murder, and therefore the killer is not going to be punished.
Yeah, well, they'll have different definitions. They might call it manslaughter and not murder.
Well, then they're going to say, well, it wasn't a manslaughter, it was assassination.
No, they don't use in courts, they don't use the term assassination.
But according to what you said, it's a legal term.
It's a legal thing to do, because it's a legal thing. Assassination is a legal thing to do. Courts don't use the term assassination. Those are facts.
Well, what do they use?
Manslaughter, usually.
Manslaughter?
Yes.
So they're going to say it wasn't a murder, it was a manslaughter.
Yes.
And so what? You still get punished for manslaughter.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You don't.
You do. Only you get a lesser punishment.
To say you get punished, the verdict will be manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
The punishment is whatever the judge decides.
But the judge doesn't have a completely free hand in deciding.
It does. Yes, in the government private courts, yes.
Well, then obviously that's completely dysfunctional.
Yes.
The court system is therefore completely dysfunctional.
Yes.
So anybody can get away with anything.
Yes. Well, not anybody can get away with anything, but those people who are on the inside and who are in control can get away with anything, yes.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Do we have to finish now? Because we need to get the kids ready for the football. What's the time?
8:40.
That's too late. We should have finished 10 minutes ago. Bye-bye, everyone. I'm going to get the kids up.
You turned on your serious head. Click. 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 People fall over dead unexpectedly all the time, and people go, "Oh, you know, shit happens." And they're people also fall over dead because they're poisoned or they you know, there are even cases where people die and they cover it up for periods of time because it's not cool, and it involves complex political
Yes, we do.
processes.
Thank you. Okay.
God, she can't keep her mouth shut, can she?
Read the clock.
We do know numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, for God's sake. Oh, it's just checking. Yeah, well, it's like the fucking Stasi police. We don't need that.
To breathe.
Yes. You do know it's different weather outside from inside, don't you?
You know you're a girl and a boy.
There you go. It's a funny old world. There you go. Dude it done.